Remember those scenes at the stations in the early days of the war, when the children were being sent out of the big towns to the safety of the countryside? To the youngsters, it was like everything new, an exciting adventure. A few treasured snapshots remain to Mrs. J.B. Priestley, wife of the famous novelist, as a memory of those days when she helped to run a home for some of the evacuated mothers and children. She chats over old times with one of the mothers, Mrs. Barton.
Tell me, Mrs. Barton, how did you find things at the hostel when you first came?
Oh, we were made very welcome and we soon settled down.
Well, that first year was the hardest, but it was the one I enjoyed most. We had a great many mothers who were unbilletable because they had new babies or because they had more than 2 or 3 children under 5.
Perhaps that's what made everyone so friendly.
Yes, a lot has been said about evacuees not getting on, but we took our mothers as they came. They weren't hand-picked, and we had less than 1% failures. It was just the same before the war when we were working on slum clearance. We had less than 1% failure then. People talked a lot of nonsense about colds in the bath. Money doesn't make much difference to the way human beings behave. You get good and bad everywhere.
I was surprised how well we all got on.
Yes, it says a lot for a community of women living in an isolated spot that there was so little friction. Everyone worked together in a team. I think we learned a lot from living together.
So do I.
And now meet Mrs. Priestley at home in her flat off Piccadilly. Her husband has a flat across the passage and sometimes takes a little time off from his writing to see how his wife's Russian lessons are getting on. Mrs. Priestley knew what she was tackling when she helped with the evacuation home. She has 6 children of her own. These are some of their portraits. Her daughter Angela, as keen on the stage as her father, and now playing Wendy in Peter Pan, is also a student of Russian and thoroughly enjoys reading the unfamiliar letters with her mother. And so we leave them to their Russian lesson, this wife and daughter of a famous man.